Hello and welcome to the Yarnings podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 93. I think I'm calling it the Summer of Team Sasquatch. Hashtag. It is August 8th, Monday afternoon. It is cloudy outside here in Vancouver, Washington, but still awfully bright. I had to shut my blinds a little bit because everything was a little glary. Welcome back. I have been awfully busy the last few weeks. I am not overly organized today, but I really wanted to get a podcast out. So I'm going to tackle the pile of things that I brought in with me from the other room, and I will share with you what I can, and perhaps next time I'll think of some of the other categories that I don't get to fill in today. So let's move into some life stories. I have restarted physical therapy, well, for a different reason. Last year, I did a pretty big round of physical therapy for my back. This year, I'm doing physical therapy on my ankle. I sprained my ankle really badly. Since I've talked to you, I've been to the ortho. Let's see if I can show you. I have a fancy brace on all the time, but it is doing a lot better. It is getting a little stronger. I'm doing a lot of exercises, and I will be doing physical therapy through at least August. And when I do physical therapy, it includes quite a bit of riding on the bus. There is no direct bus from my house to the hospital, which is where the physical therapy is. And so that means about an hour and a half each way. Oops. I have been lucky enough to schedule them at times that my husband could take me, so I only had to do the bus one direction. But this week, I'm not so lucky. But I will get a date out of that anyhow. So that has taken up, that and the other associated doctor's appointments, ortho appointments, have taken up a lot of extra time. Beyond that, I had a lot of migraines, so I'm still figuring those out, trying to get adjusted to the way that they impact me. So that has halted some of the activities that I have wanted to be doing, but I'm working on it. I'm trying my best and doing what I can. And the other exciting thing that I got to do in the last few weeks is I got to meet up with Joanne. She's Auntie Jo on Ravelry. She is the hostess of the Creative Mojo podcast, and she has the Creative Mojo Etsy shop where she sells bags. And her husband was on a music tour. He's a guitar player and teaching some classes, and so she got to come to Portland. So that was awesome. We got to meet up at McMenamins and have lunch, and I showed off Happy Knits to her. That is always a fun place to go, and I like that store particularly because they have couches you can sit on. So when you bring somebody from out of town and you want to sit and chatter and not just shop, it makes a good place to go. So that was really delightful. We share a lot of common interests and a lot of similar philosophies in life, and so it was really fun to get to meet up with her. I met her at the first ZK I went to, Zombie Apocalypse, and then she was there at the second one, but not this year. So this was my opportunity to see her this year, and hopefully we will both be at ZK next year. So that was lots of fun. And I think that is all of the exciting life stories to share today. So let's move into Adventures in Knitting, Adventures to Yarnings and Adventures in Knitting. I can't even say my own segment titles correctly today. It's all good. So I have finished several things that are not blocked yet, so I'm not wearing them. the first thing I finished is what I was calling, it's the You're Beautiful Shawl by Melanie Berg, and I was calling it You're Beautiful and Treasured after A Song by Casting Crowns. So it is not blocked, so the points are curling up. Oh, and I'm showing it inside out. But I love how this turned out. So this is actually 2 colors striped together. You can see the very, very edge. It's very hard to see. The very, very edge is just the 1 color. This is Sun Valley Fibers, Woodland Friends colorway in the MCN, yeah, I think so, MCN base. And Query Fibers Sparkle Sock, which has a very, very subtle sparkle. And I don't remember the colorway on that one. Embrace, I think. It's got these neato little points that come down. There you go. Kind of see that. I knit it longer than it needed to be because I wanted to use all the yarn. I had 2 very small little balls left. They might still be in the other room. I don't remember if I brought them in here or not. I brought my other project, but not these. But 2 wee little balls. Did I stick them up there already? Nope. So, once this is blocked, this will be an amazingly long, it's a nice, my entire wingspan almost, from tip to tip. So once it's blocked, it will look a little nicer, but I really love it. It's going to be a very flattering shape for me, and I started this the Sunday of ZK, so it's been on the needles for a while. You can see this point in the middle is askew. You can see that it goes off sideways because I wasn't doing the increasing the way that it called for. And I decided it was a design feature. It wasn't going to impact it negatively, and I didn't rip it out. That was just the joy of knitting with friends on that Sunday. You can see I still have my ends hanging out, but I really like how this looks. You can see it's got a nice shape there. So once I've blocked it, I'll put it on for you guys, but it is done. It is 2 big skeins of yarn for stash towards stash dash. I have not calculated what my stash dash amounts are. Yeah. You're Beautiful by Melanie Berg, Sun Valley Fibers, and Query Fiber. Sun Valley was in a kit that I didn't bring the bag back in here, that matches the kitchen counter crafter bag that it was knit in. And then the Query was something that I'd won at the first CK, or I'd gotten out of the yarn exchange. Yarn Lotto. There we go. So, first finished object. Second finished object. I have worked on this a lot since my bind off is coming out. I must have not secured it quite properly. Alright, I'm going to attach this with a stitch marker so it doesn't fall out further while I talk about this, and then I'll set it down really carefully. Alright, so this is based on Summer Vines by Nicole Montgomery. I have a temporary ribbon in here right now. So last time I talked to you, I had decided to inverse this design. My gauge was less tight on this pattern stitch. It was supposed to be that this was the under bust band and this was over the bust. So after I talked to you, I decided for sure that was going to be over bust. The patterning would go there, and then I increased a little bit for the skirt. And the skirt comes down into a stockinette section of the lavender. The front and back have little drawstring holders, so it's a tube that is three needle bind off, and the 3 needle bind off is coming out right there, so it's trying to unravel on me. I don't know how that happened. I thought I cut all of those, that I tied off all of my ends, but maybe that one just got missed. So the front and the back have a tube that a ribbon will go through, and then the ribbons will be the straps. This is not the ribbon that's going to stay in it. It was just the widest one I had to try it out. So I'd like something wider that will give me a little bit wider straps. This is a 1.5-inch ribbon. If I could get a 3-inch ribbon, I would be pleased as punch. So I'm going to go look this week. So I just finished binding off this morning. I bound off with an I-cord edging all the way around the bottom, and in the front I did a little bit looser I-cord. Let me find a spot where I can show you the difference here. If I set this down, there we go. You can see that over here it's got a little more pronounced lip on the I-cord than it does over here, and that's because I do 2 rows before I connect it to the body stitch, so that makes it a little stretchier, and theoretically that means it'll be more flowy in the very front of the skirt of this top. This is what I had left, so I used almost everything. This is Color Me Happy. This is a gift from my fairy yarn mother. In the Really Happy sock base in the colorway First Timer, and I had 3 skeins of this of 464 yards, and then Make Do, which is a gift from my roommate my first year at ZK, Kim, the color Lilac, so another 460 yards. So 460 times 4 is what the yardage is on this. So very nice yardage for Stash Dash. Finished while I watched some Olympics. So Team Sasquatch. In a second I'll tell you about Team Sasquatch. I think this is going to be really adorable. It is between tunic length and short dress length. So it will go great with my LuLaRoe leggings. I'll have to see which pair I have that's going to be perfect with this. I have a heathered purple, but I think it has a lot more pink than this does. So I'll have to hold it up and see, or look and see what... Oh, I have a floral one that is going to be awesome with it. So hopefully when I record next and I have the ribbon in it, which will probably be white ribbon or gray, maybe a light gray, silvery gray. I don't think I'll find close enough to this. That would be ideal, but I don't think I'll find close enough to this in a thick ribbon. We'll see. Yeah, so this is pretty epic. This took me a while. I meant to bring it with me to ZK, and then I was just running out of room. So it got taken out. And so I cast it on when I got home. So it has taken me longer than most of the tops that I've knit this year. But some of that was during Tour de Fleece. and I really focused a lot on spinning. So I didn't knit on this as much, and I did knit on the shawl and my test knits, and so there was a lot of other things going on. But it is mostly finished. So again, it needs to be blocked. It needs all the ends woven in, and it needs that darn 3-needle bind off. Just this little end started coming out, so I have to fix that. That'll be easy. It's definitely fixable. It's not a problem. Even if it went down a couple rows, it'll be easy to pick it back up and make it look good again. So Team Sasquatch is a group for people who listen to or watch a lot of podcasts, and when there is a event going on, like Tour de Fleece, like the Ravellenic Games, it's fun to get to cheer together with a group of like-minded people. So if you don't want to choose a single podcast or a single team, Team Sasquatch is a great place to be. So I spent a lot of time during Tour de Fleece posting and reading and looking at hashtags for Team Sasquatch, and now the Ravellenic Games are going on, which is in coordination with the Olympics. If I can even say the Olympics on my podcast, I wouldn't hashtag it with that. They're very picky about who says their trademark. So the Ravellenic Games are what people do, what people watch, do a challenge, do something while they're watching. So I am a proud member, leader. I am one of many podcasters that are hostesses in the group, and I think it's an awesome thing. So I have spent a lot of time already this summer thinking about Team Sasquatch, and I will continue with the games. So, summer of Team Sasquatch. So let me show you some of my works in progress. When I was knitting on at the beginning here, these are my new socks I just cast on right before my lunch with Joanne. I'm picking up this carefully because it's got a stitch marker and I wanted it to stay on there till I was ready for it. This is 716 knit in the 716 base in the Board Now color, which is a Buffy reference, which I love. And they are green and they're not green. I don't know where that came from. They're red and purple, very nice deep colors, and it was not only reminding me of Willow, but it was also reminding me of Scarlet Witch, who has been on the last few big Marvel movies. She also wears some nice red. So it's kind of two different red witches. Willow, Spike calls her Red some of the time, and Scarlet Witch. So this is my two red witches socks. And I have made some good progress. This is a nice thick sock base. It feels really nice and sturdy, and I really like how they wear. I have another pair that I did when I went to the beach. They're the same purple almost and tan, so they looked like my toes in the sand with my purple toenail polish. So I know I like how this base wears, and so I was really excited to find one that was referring to a Buffy quote that I really, really loved. So these are in my Creative Mojo lovely elephants bag. So these elephants are in love because their trunks are intertwined. And this is a bag that Joanne sent me from her shop. Here is her her cute little button. Creative Mojo, handmade gifts, creativemojo.etsy.com. So it was very fitting to put socks to knit on that I cast on before I went to meet up with her into that bag. And I think I finished my other pair of socks since I've talked to you guys last time, but they aren't in here, so I need the ends woven in still. The other work in progress, oh, my phone is in there. I was wondering why it was so heavy, which is in my Silver Shed USA bag. This was the goodie bag this year, and it turns into a bucket if you need it to. This is what I cast on for the Ravellenic Games. I don't know that I'll finish it during the games, but I have a nice start. I am making the FLOTUS Shawl by Shannon Squire, formerly of Twisted here in Portland. She is a great designer, and I am making it in colors that were given to me with love from my friend Leah. This is the rainbow colors that Spartacus dyes. I just dropped my red way back there. Thank you. The red is already... I didn't think I could make one more row with this little bit that was left. I have just a little bitty ball. So, red, orange is what I'm working on. Yellow, I think this was Yarn Bus yellow, Rochester red, OMG orange maybe? Green has some really nice colors in there. Breakout Session blue. And Panic Cookin' purple! So you guys have seen, if you've been watching for a while, you've seen that I knit socks with Panic Cookin' purple, and it went into my Valentine's tunic this spring. But this was a set that that Leah and some of her friends had broken up at ZK, and she decided that it needed to come live with me. So I am turning it into something awesome. And I got this color to go with it. This is Black Trillium, her Marilyn sock. This is an exclusive colorway to Happy Knits, which I got when I was there with Joanne. This is Rocco's Modern Tweed, named after the store dog, or maybe it's Beth's dog, I'm not sure. But it is gray with all the colors of the rainbow in there. I think the red is a little hidden, but I think all of the colors are in there. And so you can see between this section, there's an eyelet row that has the colors, the gray in it, the colors. And then once I've gone through all of the colors of the rainbow, there will be a whole section of this at the end. So it's going to be a wide shawl. It's going to curl up on the edges by design, or at least all of the pictures do, and it looks really nice. It's got this really cool deep eyelet edge. You can see on the top of the red there. And this is lots of fun to knit on. The edges are the only place that there's pattern, unless you're on the eyelet row which is the gray. So it makes it really great TV, Rio Games knitting. I started it while watching the trials for the women's gymnastics, and then I knit on it some more during Stranger Things and the 4400 this weekend. So, awesome, love-filled rainbow shawl. The FLOTUS by Shannon Squire is awesome. And I don't know how much I'll watch the Olympics, but I really like the women's gymnastics, and so I am watching some of that. I watched the qualifiers this weekend and this morning, and that was lots of fun. I think that's all the knitting. How about some spinning? So Tour de Fleece happened. Oh, I should pull up how much my how much I spun because I don't have that on my screen for you, but I know where to find it. So for Tour de Fleece goes on at the same time as Tour de France. It's the same number of days, the same amount of rest days, and people are challenged to spin whatever their goal is. My goal was to spin every day. I spun, okay, there we go. I finished this one. This one is already washed and thwacked. I may have shown this to you guys already. This is Huckleberry Knits. This is a BFL. I got 114 grams, 664 yards, so it's a heavy lace weight. And it is beautiful. I really like this. I gave it a lot of twist, and it turned out really good. So these singles had been sitting for a long time, and I'm really excited to have finished them up. I had purchased it in 2011 and spun the singles in 2012. So that's the first one. The second thing finished was what I had just finished making the singles of before Tour de Fleece. This is my Kaylee's Parasol Hobbly-Hoy Batlings. So it went from this greeny color of her overalls to the blue of the patch on her overalls of the teddy bear. And then some of the blue found its way into this skein and finishes out into Kaylee's Parasol. Just going to find you the little cute tag. There it is. Nope, that's the other one. Oh, I don't have a Kaylee's Parasol tag in here. I'm sorry. They were very cute, and they had the parasol printed on them. But Hobbly-Hoy Batlings. They have a nice amount of sparkle in them. You'll probably get a little glimmer of that here and there. And I decided to start plying from the parasol end so that I was sure that all of the parasol went together with the other parasol. And I did. It came out pretty well that way. I was worried that if I started at the other end and I had not been consistent with my singles, then I would have a lot of overlap of the blue into the parasol and it would be muddied. So I started the opposite way, and I'm glad I did that. But I don't know what it's going to be. It is a total of 532 yards, which is 129 grams. It looks to me like a heavy lace weight, but those numbers make it heavy fingering or a sport, which is kind of crazy to me. When I thought that it was a heavy lace weight, I was thinking about pairing it with this and doing something striping, but this is kind of a light fingering. Although this is blocked. This is Dancing Dog Dye Works Chili Verde. It was a large. I have a lot of this. So the thought is I could do something color worked with this as the neck, do a yoked sweater, and then finish it off with this. And I think I could still do that even if they aren't exactly the same weight. So that is a possibility. So that's the second thing. So right there, that's 664 and 532 yards of finished yarn. This still needs to be washed. I need to do an epic washing because I have 2 hand knits and 2 hand spuns that need to be washed. And then I did a little bit on my Acreworks. There's still some that is on it, and it's in the other room. I didn't bring it in here. I guessed that I had done probably 10 grams of it, but I do that it's chain plied, so I do it just really gradually. I don't do a lot of it at once. The big thing that I did, though, was Santa Creek Creations, which is the tag that's in here. Santa Creek Creations. This is Polworth, and I had 12 ounces of it. And I have spun 10 ounces of that, 10 cops. And they alternate back and forth based on the color of the fiber. Here is the fiber. It is kind of a challenge to draft, so I went a little slower than I could have, but it's coming out pretty nice on my little Jenkins Turkish Delight. My plying spindle that I use to finish all of those other yarns is a larger Turkish, but we don't know what brand it is. So I have 2 bumps. I have 2 ounces left to finish on this, and then I get to ply it. I do not think I'm going to get it done in time for Stash Dash. I didn't realize Stash Dash ended so soon. Wouldn't that be nice to have all that yardage? But it's okay. I am still working on it. So I did 10 ounces of that during the tour. And that's huge. That is a lot of spinning. I think I looked back 2 years ago. I don't remember what I did last year, but 2 years ago I had done 42 grams. That's a very reasonable small amount. It was great for that year. That was how much I could do. This year, I'm really proud of myself. I worked really hard and I did a lot, and I am a better spinner for it. I have a little bit better tools. The Turkish plying spindle really made it possible to finish all this yarn, and now I have plied up all of the singles that have been languishing. So that's awesome. So I'm really proud of my Tour de Fleece, and I am proud to be part of Team Sasquatch, who cheered me on along the way. Okay, so beyond that, multi-craftual. I have been working on some coloring. So let's do these in order. I have 3 postcards that I have colored. This one is not quite done yet, but it's very close, and I think these are going to get framed and hung on my wall. These are actually heavy postcard type material. It's from The Art of Relaxation. I gave some of my friends confetti to celebrate my birthday. Let me get this spread back out here. And I actually used some of these postcards to color in. You can see the cardstock, the white one in there, color in and then punch them out with my hex tool so that then they looked like confetti. Oh, here's one. So like that. And I punched them out. So this book has come in handy for lots of joy to share with friends. And so now I have been coloring, and that has been lots of fun. For knitting community, we have 2 knit-alongs going on. We have the Superpowers shawl knit-along. When I want to know what color your superpowers would look like if you were to knit the Superpowers shawl. So if you have gotten your pattern and picked up yarn, I'd love for you to come and post in the thread. There is chatter allowed. It goes through the end of August. I might extend that because that's not very long. And if you haven't gotten your pattern, there was a coupon code in last episode. I don't remember what I said it as to even tell you again, but it was in last episode. We also have the Yarning Summer School knit-along going on, or craft-along, where I'd love to see you crafting while you're learning something, whether it's a craftsy class or a class you actually go to. I took a craftsy class. I have been reading some cookbooks. I'll tell you a little bit more about the the tool that I'm learning how to use in Cookbook of Cooking in a minute here. So, how are you crafting and learning? Go post it in the thread. Be entered for some prizes. We have some great prizes, including one from Daisy Knits, who has an excellent podcast for learning. She is doing the Master Knitter program right now. So, there you go. There's another way you could learn. What else do I have to tell you? I think that's it for Knitting Community. I don't have any new podcasts to tell you about, but I am part of the PalCal. Actually, Knitting is doing the Podcast Along, Knit Along. Podcast. That sounds wrong. It's a knit along. I'm sorry, guys. The PalCal is a knit along for people who like podcasts and supporting podcasters by using some of their products. So this bag is a podcaster product. I also have the sock ruler, which is supposed to be in here. That was part of the promotions for the PalCal. So this would count as a entry, even though my yarn is not podcaster dyed yarn. It would count for an entry because I am supporting a podcast. So my patterns are part of that, and I would highly encourage you to go check out all of the awesome podcasters in there. There are really some phenomenal podcasters that design patterns, make bags, dye yarn. Sitting next to me, I have Bluebonnet Fibers, upside down, Rebecca of the Fiber and Ice podcast. This would, when I finally get together what I'm going to do for a long cowl, this would be a great entry to the PalCal, but I don't know if I'll get it done in time for the PalCal. So that is one thing I was thinking about. I also have minis here from my my goodie bag, and One Twisted Tree, the purple is Retreat Portkey. That is Danny from Prairie Girls Knit and Spin. So if I were to make something, and I feel like Steve from Leading Man Fiber Arts that did the green Yarna Kuchen, I think he's a podcaster too, but I haven't ever watched his podcast. So if I were to do something with these minis, I would also have a great PalCal thing. I don't have other bags that are by podcasters. I definitely have patterns by podcasters and patterns I would like to do. I haven't picked out what some of my next projects are going to be. So, I need to do that. I've been so busy. So, let's move into the non-knitting segments, and I will briefly touch on some of the geeky things and all that I've been doing. For now playing, we've played just a small little bit of games, and I don't have them written down, but I can tell you real quick. We got the new game, Manhattan Project Chain Reaction. It is a card game version of the Manhattan Project, which I love. This was a really great implementation of a small game. So much easier to transport than the year that we brought the Manhattan Project on a trip and had to play it on a hotel table that was this big, and we had to slide it up against the bed so we had a bigger surface. This would be a better plan. The other new game that we got was Dice City. This one was on Mass Drop, and it was too good of a deal. I couldn't pass it up. And that was awfully fun. I'm looking forward to playing that again. And Xenon Profiteer. Xenon Profiteer was one that I'd been waiting for ever since Charles and Rebecca talked about it from the Fiber and Dice podcast. It is about chemical engineering, and it was awfully fun. So definitely want to play that again. And I think I had told you all about the other things that I played before that. So yeah, just little bits of gaming, not a whole lot. For now watching, we just finished watching Fringe. My husband and I watched that together, and that was great. I really like that show. Even though the 5th season is so different, it's a great show. We've also started watching Stranger Things, and then started watching 4400. Again, rewatching the 4400, which is another one based in Vancouver, BC, so we recognize all the extras, and that's fun. And then I finished watching the seasons of Bones I hadn't seen that were available on Netflix. They don't have the last season, which was 11, the one that was just aired last year, isn't on there yet, but I watched everything that they had. I know we watched some other things, but I didn't make a list, so there's the bits of things that we watched. Now reading, I just finished a book, but I want to be able to tell you a little more details about that, so I'll write that down for next time. For Fanciful Chatter, I don't have anything exciting to tell you about. I know that I've got some new exciting things, but I didn't bring them in here. For the Book of Cooking, I got an Instant Pot. This is a cookbook that I got out of the library, and it really has to be used for inspiration only, because the descriptions, the spell checking, it's a little wonky. But I got an Instant Pot, so pay no attention to the rest of this book. I got an Instant Pot. This is a pressure cooker that allows you to cook things quickly. It can do things like would be in a slow cooker or a rice cooker. You can do yogurt. So far, I have tried mac and cheese. Eric did beans. I've done oatmeal. I've made pasta. And I think there's one more thing. And tonight I'm making risotto. So I'm really excited about that. It is really fun. I'm enjoying learning how to use it and figuring out what to do in it. There is a fair amount of research anytime I take on a new tool like this, and so that is quite fun. And like I said, this cookbook is not super helpful, but it did have some interesting ideas for things that we might try. I will probably make myself a little review with details on some of the ones that I want, but it's not a book that I would want to own. I was going to see when it was published, 2015. I have several other books that are for the Instant Pot on hold at the library. One that is a brand new one that's not even in the library yet, but I went ahead and put my hold on it, so hopefully those will have a little more knowledge, a little better editing. But there are an awful lot of recipes online, so that's helpful too. I just sometimes like recipe books for inspiration, so that did give me inspiration. And I think, and then happiness continues. I read a great post this week by Carla Bernberg. She is a friend from the fitness community. She is very inspirational, and she's a good friend. And she wrote a post about asking clearly for what she needs and how she could envision that like the tag on a piece of clothes. What are the laundry instructions? Well, they write that very clearly and concisely, saying exactly what that piece of clothes needs. What if we had clothes tags if we had tags that people could tell right away what we need? What are the things that are important to each of us that other people could be aware of and help fill our buckets? And I really liked that sentiment. I thought that was a really cool way to look at it, and how I could specify a little more clearly with my friends what would help me. So, yeah, I will link to that in the show notes in case you guys want to see it too. Okay, I think that'll do it for today. I hope you enjoyed spending a little time with me today, despite my scatteriness, and I will look forward to the next time that I can record for you. So, let's see. You can connect with me on the internet. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. I am KDLB, just the letters, on Instagram. You can find the Yarnings podcast group on Ravelry, and the show notes are at yarningspodcast.com, all smooshed together. Okay, guys. See you next time. Have a great day. That's the story. Bye.